And we are live. Whew, a little rusty this morning. Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Another Monday. It's January 12th. It is cold as shit outside. Got my hot coffee. Cheers. Hope everybody is nice and warming up with some coffee. Maybe you already got into the gym, got a nice workout in today. I really like today's workout. A little bit different. It's kind of solely a bodybuilding focus. I had a great time watching the morning classes do this workout. Everybody's already complaining about some sore arms, which is always a good sign. So if you're watching this and you did this morning's workout, drop a comment. Let me know what you thought about it. If you coached this morning's workout, let me know if you had fun coaching. And I know those 3 sets of 10 bench press got nice and spicy by the end. Yeah, great start to the week. We're coming off a great week in the gym. We had baseline week for our first cycle of 2026, and we had some really fun workouts. We were all over the place, which is just how we like to be at Oxfit. Heavy lifting on Monday. We had a great decathlete workout Tuesday, Wednesday, some good strict gymnastics. And then Thursday, I think was a fan favorite. We had cold shoulder and polar plunge. I was kind of anticipating it be a little colder last week, so that workout would be fitting, but it's cold this week, so that's fine. Ant said he had fun. He's alive. That's all I care about. He and I both died a little bit last week, but that's okay. Recovered, back in action, just had to sleep for about 48 hours, and I'm ready to go. Ant said he managed to get a video of Beefy just laying down on the job. All right, let's take that away. How about this one? Much better. All right, Whitney, loved this morning's workout. Perfect bodybuilding start to the week. I agree. I think it was awesome. Comment below also what your favorite workout was from last week. The coaches replied to my notes for them. I had a lot of folks saying they enjoyed Monday's workout. We had some people, they didn't say they enjoyed Thursday, but they said it was a tough one and they're excited to retest it. I was made aware that maybe some of our classes did Thursday's workout incorrectly, and that is totally my fault because I wasn't super clear. That you did not have to do burpees if you put the bar down, only if you dropped a bar from overhead. So I think some people had some extra long burpees or time doing burpees. Ant says the Oxfit PFT was his favorite, said it was a great test. I think so too. You really had to push to get under the 25-minute time cap if you chose a challenging scale. We did it a little bit differently. So each level not only had different weights like we normally do, but on Saturday's workout, level 1 had to do 30 reps across the board, level 2, 40 reps, level 3, 50 reps. 50 reps was a big challenge to finish under the 25 minutes. But it was cool to see people take that on. We had a really fun class over in Grant Park, 9 a.m. on Saturday. Of course, Beefy loved that Mad Max. We know she likes some heavy lifting. But all in all, awesome week. It was so cool to see everybody getting back into the gym, even though kids, for some reason, weren't in school on Monday. We did the best we could, and then we had our Friday makeup day, and I saw some really full scorecards by the end of the week, which were really cool to go through and see how much work people put in. And we're going to try to keep that rolling for the rest of this cycle, keep the motivation up as best we can. We'll talk a little bit more about motivation in a minute. But yeah, end of last week, I learned that Friday was a national holiday, and I've never heard of this before. Maybe people have seen this online. I mean, obviously it's a joke, but National Quitters Day was on Friday. Happy belated National Quitters Day. It made me laugh when I saw it. I thought it was funny, but it's also true. And it sounds kind of rude, but normally that's how we feel when something is the truth. It kind of rubs us the wrong way. We don't think we can find it funny, but actually, I guess a lot of like fitness apps, especially Strava, the running app, notice their engagement just tank on January 9th. And I guess that's happened a few years in a row. So they've dubbed it National Quitters Day. So people kind of dropping off on their New Year's resolutions, which we notice that here at Oxfit, maybe not as fast as January 9th, but often we'll have some new faces in the gym at beginning of January, end of December, and we don't see those people again after maybe February, maybe March if they hang on that long. And I totally get why. Sticking to your goals is boring. It is. And especially when it's centered around something, based on your performance or based on your appearance, which is pretty much what all New Year's resolutions are. People want to look better by summertime. They want to train for a 5K. They want to lose 10 pounds. All these things require very repetitive actions that after the first couple of days, they're not earning you praise anymore. They're not showing you immediate results. It was kind of boring to be meal prepping yesterday when I could have been just drinking beer, watching the Bills game. But instead, I was getting my food ready for the week. Waking up on a Monday morning and going to the gym at 6 a.m. is tiring. Saying no to alcohol on January 10th is a lot harder than saying no to alcohol on January 2nd when you're still hungover and feel like shit. And I feel like people go through these motions they set out for themselves for a week or two, and then people stop praising them for it. They aren't noticing any differences and they just stop. And so I think kind of the root of failure, the root of National Quitters Day isn't the fact that people wanted to quit. They just quit because they feel like they're guessing at what they're supposed to be doing. And it all starts with the easy questions we ask ourselves at the beginning of every year. Do I need to eat better? Yes. Do I need to work out? Yes. Do I need to take a break from alcohol? Yes, again. But they don't have the answers to the follow-up questions. And the follow-up questions matter on January 9th, 10th, 11th, for the rest of the month, February, March. They don't know what workouts to do. How many days a week should they be working out? How hard should they go? What happens if they miss? What happens when they don't see progress right away? So they guess and they scroll social media, they try random things, and eventually, the confusion turns to frustration, and the frustration just turns into quitting because they're tired of guessing and they're tired of, trying random different things. And, one of the biggest myths is that, the success of your New Year's resolutions comes down to motivation. Right now, the motivation might still be pretty high. And that's what gets us going, which is great. We want to be motivated. We want to be excited about our goals. But it doesn't keep you going. So you're not always going to feel like you want to work out. We get busy, we get tired, it gets cold outside, you get sick, and you're down and out for 2 days, and that might derail your entire plan for the new year. And then you end up negotiating with yourself. If the motivation fails, things aren't going your way, you'll say, I'll go tomorrow. I'll skip today. I'll get back to it. I'll start again on Monday. And then Monday comes around and you never really get back to it. And then you start doubting yourself. I don't see any changes. Running is not any easier for me today than it was a week ago. Still don't know what I'm doing for the gym. And that person that is lacking motivation, that person that's starting to doubt, is realizing they never had a plan in the first place and they were just guessing at this the whole time. And so that is kind of what I was thinking about with this National Quitters Day. I was like, who is that person? Does that person exist at Oxfit? But the flip side of that is really what I see every day. I am kind of in high gear with the clients that I work with here at the gym. And I was just thinking about some of the messages I had with them going back and forth and what the opposite of that person looks like. So I screenshotted them I'm not going to say anyone's names, but just to give you the gist of kind of what my weekend looked like. It was, you know, what is the first one? Visiting a sick parent. What are your recommendations for avoiding sugary foods they keep in the house? And another one was, I'm only going to make it to the gym a couple of days this week. Do you have any advice of what I could do on the third day? If I need any ideas for a quick meal prep, what should it be? I struggle to spend a lot of time cooking on Sundays. What workouts should I prioritize going to in the gym this week? I have a tight schedule. And even something as specific as, what protein powder do you use? Does it matter? Do I need to start taking it? All of these things are indicators that I am working with people that were tired of guessing. They were tired of trying to do it by themselves over and over again, and tired of constantly starting over. So it was cool to see those two things working at the same time. A whole slew of people dropping off from Strava or whatever app they were using, versus the people I'm working with that are focused on their goals, and they admitted to themselves that they just needed a little bit of extra help. And as their coach, I give them, three essential things. I give them structure, I give them clarity, and I give them consistency. I'm here to bounce ideas off of, to constantly remind them of why they are doing this, and to keep all of us, myself included, because I do have my own goals, locked in. Because the group camaraderie and those conversations keep me motivated, it keeps them motivated, and it keeps reminding us of why we are doing this, even though we're not going to see the little tiny changes day by day that are happening. It's just going to take a month or 2 months to reveal themselves, which is, way past the point in time when a lot of people give up. And I'm really proud of them for that. But I know there's so many people that still think that they don't need that help sticking to their plan. They don't need that help to make 2026 the best year of their lives. And the common objections are, I should be able to do this on my own. Maybe you should, but you can't, because you've never been able to do it before. And we hire coaches in every other area of life. We hire teachers to learn. We hire mentors for our careers. We hire experts for our finances. And fitness is no different. The biggest one, I think, is that people think having a coach is only for an advanced athlete. It's like, I don't work out. I need to get a fitness routine before I do all that. Or I need to get in shape before I join a gym like that. Or I'm not ready to look at my nutrition because I don't even work out. So I need to work out before I can do this. And those things are so untrue. And beginners benefit the most because they're building habits, the right way from day one. And I think that is such a silly argument to think that you have to be at a certain level to get the most help. You would never say, I don't need any financial advice because I don't really make that much money compared to this guy I follow on Instagram. He's a billionaire. That's crazy. Everyone should know how to manage their money to give them the best possible outcome in life given their circumstances. And I think everyone would agree with that statement. The same is true for your health. I don't care if you have the most broke, in debt body, you still need to learn how to take care of it and invest in your health and fitness to give you the best life possible. And I would argue, and I think everyone that I work with here at Oxford would agree, those are the people that need a coach the most, is to help them learn how to build the foundation. And that's exactly what we're doing here at Oxford right now. I think Ant commented earlier that we built a lot of good foundations this past week, and that's what we're doing. We're just laying the groundwork to keep building on top of that. And, not everybody can do that by themselves. You need a coach to show you how many reps to do, how hard to push, how many days you should be coming to the gym. What are you eating after your workout? What are you eating on the weekend? All of these things are laying the foundation for you to be the healthiest and happiest version of yourself. So yeah, I just want people to really ask themselves, how much time have you already wasted starting over? how many gym memberships or apps have been downloaded or purchased and gone unused, how much frustration has quitting already created. And, coaching isn't an expense, it's an investment into doing it right the first time, to avoid the mental and financial expense of constantly starting over. So instead of seeing National Quitters Day, I know it's funny, but I think a lot of us fell into that category. Instead of seeing it as a reminder of failure, I want you to see it as a wake up call that you need to stop trying to do it by yourself. You need to stop relying on motivation. You need to stop guessing at what you're doing, because the problem is not your effort. The problem is not you. The problem is that you had a lack of plan and you had a lack of support going into it. So if you have already fallen off this year, that doesn't mean you failed. It means you learned what you were missing. And the bottom line is you were missing someone to help you stay consistent. You're missing someone to help you provide structure. And you are really missing someone to give you the clarity to the what and why you're doing. And that is the biggest thing I do as a coach, is I'm there to walk alongside you, to remind you why we're taking every step we're taking, why you're showing up to the gym at 6 a.m. on a Wednesday when you're tired, even though you haven't lost any weight yet or you don't notice any changes, because those habits are going to stack on themselves. That foundation is going to be built, and you're never going to have to do that part again. It's always going to be there if we do it the right way from the beginning. So National Quitters Day does not prove that people fail. It just proves that success has to be a team effort, no matter what level you are. So a coach is for anyone, especially a beginner. And that is what I wanted to get out. And Ant is going to let us know that he would stop going on Strava after 9 days too. I would not last on Strava for 9 days, even if I had a coach, but I would last at Oxfit for 9 days because we're the best. So whether you don't go to Oxfit, you've never been here, or most of the people that watch this probably do go to Oxfit, and you have a foundation or an area where you can get awesome workouts and you have the coaches to help you with consistency and accountability. Maybe you need help in all the other areas that matter, your habits before and after the gym, your nutrition on the weekend. Maybe you need a coach to text on Sundays and say, I'm going out of town this week. What do I do to keep up with my goals? Feel free to reach out. You can always shoot me an email, let Ant know, Caitlin, Lauren, any of the Oxfit coaches. We're here for you guys. And we are determined to not celebrate National Quitters Day next year, or really National Quitters Day could be today through March probably, because there's just going to be more and more people falling off from what they said they were going to do. And we do not want that to be you guys. So think about that on this fine Monday morning. I hope you guys have a great day in the gym. If you weren't planning on working out, you should. Today's workout is a fun one, little pump sesh, nothing too crazy. And I'll see you guys in the gym this week.